Hey friends, this class is suitable for all trimesters and is specifically designed for general back pain and aches that you get during pregnancy. So this might be that lower back aching at the end of the day, maybe the mid or upper back as you start to round more around your belly. And while this class isn't specifically for pelvic instability, so SI pain at the back, tailbone, or SPD pain, which we often feel at the front at the pubic bone, it's not going to aggravate pelvic instability. We are going to keep the legs together and we're not taking them any wider than hip distance. So if you do have pelvic instability, this class still is suitable, though I will leave another one linked below that's going to help you to strengthen the muscles around the pelvis, which will help that instability. So we're going to give the legs a really nice stretch today in this class, which can help ease some of that back pain. We're also going to address some posture issues, so the way that we hold our body throughout the whole day is going to impact how our back feels at the end of the day. So hopefully working out some of those issues as well. We'll use some props in today's class. So if you have yoga blocks and a bolster, go and grab those now. If you don't, you can use books, you can use cushions or pillows off your bed, even a rolled blanket will work. And if you are brand new to pregnancy yoga, I have a free mini guide that will be linked in the description box for you. Make sure you download that one after you finish this class. I'm gonna start in a standing position today. So I'm just gonna move those props out the way for the moment. We won't need them just yet. So I want you to bring yourself to a wall and just take your feet a little bit away from the wall so that you can tuck the pelvis down so that the low back sits flat against the wall, and then roll the shoulders back and down so that your full back should be nice and straight on the wall. And then all I want you to do is just notice as you do some pelvic tilt. So as you tilt the pelvis forward, which is where the pelvis usually sits probably when you're walking throughout the day, or perhaps even more exaggerated, that you get this arch through the low back. And then I just want you to gently engage the core muscles to press the back into the wall so that we reduce this arch. And then I just want you to tilt forward. So have the knees as bent as you need to do this. Keep the shoulders back and down. Hopefully the head and neck are relaxed, and just keep rolling back and forward. And this is going to be really important because throughout the day, what I want you to do is start noticing when you get into this position with this big arch. And I want you to lengthen out through that back by gently tucking the pelvis under, which is like pressing that back into the wall. And just doing a few of these and finding more of a midpoint so we don't spend our days in a really exaggerated arch can help with some of that back pain. All right, let's turn around now and bring the hands onto the wall at about hip distance. And then walk the feet back out until the feet are underneath the hips. So we're doing a down dog against the wall. Press the palms into the wall. Look down towards the floor. Keep pressing into the hands. Bend the knees as much as you need so that that lower back feels comfortable. And then just gently tip the tailbone up as you let the upper body hang. I want you to find the breath here, inhaling through the nose. And let's exhale out through the mouth, side out. Good. Inhale. And exhale, side out. Keep pressing into all 10 fingers, pressing the wall away. Keep the knees as bent as you need, but keep lifting the tailbone so you should be getting this really nice stretch up the back of the legs. Good. Bend even deeper into the knees and just let one arm rest towards the floor. Press the fingertips into the floor as you just gently look up through that right armpit. So just starting to stretch through that upper back, that mid back. Breathing here. Remembering that everything is optional, so if you have heartburn and this isn't feeling great today, because sometimes taking the heart below the hips doesn't feel great, you're welcome to skip and just stay in that modified dog against the wall. Gently looking up through the left armpit now, feeling free to adjust through the hips as much as you need to make this comfortable. So maybe the right knee bends a little bit more than the left. Breathing deep. Good. Return that right hand back up. And then I want you to step the left foot forward and the right foot back. Keep the stance fairly shallow. So we're not taking a really wide stance. It's a pretty short stance, but feel free to take the legs on train tracks so you've got good balance here. So we're doing a modified pyramid now. Again, press the hands into the wall and we're going to straighten up the legs. Feel like your legs are squeezing together this way and squeezing together this way. So really active through the legs. Breathing here. This time in through the nose, out through the nose. If you want to, you can creep the hands down a little bit to increase the stretch through the legs, but you don't have to. Good. Slowly walk the hands up if you took them down. Step that back foot in and stay holding onto the wall. Bend that back knee in and reach towards the foot. Squeeze the knees in towards each other and then just gently pull that foot in for a nice quad stretch. If you can, push the foot into the hand so we start to open up through the front of this hip. Breathing here. But keep squeezing the inner thighs together. So we're not going for wide, we're just going for gently stretching into the front of that hip and also the quad. See if you can keep the breath moving in and out through the nose. Good, gently release the hand down. Opposite side, holding onto the foot. Squeeze the inner thighs together and just take the quad stretch to start with. Feel like that left knee is drawing down towards the mat. And then press the foot into the hand if you like, extending out. Keep squeezing those inner thighs together. And then step that left foot down. We're going to come into that modified pyramid again, so make sure the feet are wide enough, but not too wide lengthways. Bring the hands onto the mat. Perhaps you need to go a little bit further away from the wall. Squeeze the legs together like you're squeezing the mat with the feet. So legs are turned on, and then if you want to, you can lower the hands down a little bit to increase the stretch through the legs as well. Breathing here. If you wanted to go even further, you could bring fingertips down to the ground if that feels nice, but for many of us, it will feel better to stay a little bit lifted through the upper body. As your belly gets increasingly bigger, you'll find that more poses where you're folded over won't feel so great because the space for the lungs in your body isn't as big anymore. As baby takes up all that room. Good. Slowly come to stand. I just want you to either stand in the middle of your mat or the top of your mat, wherever feels best for you in the space that you're currently in. And just bring the hands onto the hips and take those pelvic tilts once more. So take a little bend through the knees so that the movement is coming from the hips. So tucking the pelvis under and then lengthening out. Tucking the pelvis under and then lengthening out. Good. As you inhale, take the arms tall. Hold on to the left wrist. Take the feet so they're slightly wider than hip distance. And just gently draw the body over to the side. Breathing here, so you're feeling like that top arm is extending up and out. And then inhale back through center, hold on to the right, over to the opposite side. Breathing here. Good. From there, release both hands down by the side. Tuck the chin in towards the chest and just start to gently roll the body all the way down. From here, bring the hands onto the thighs and support the body to roll back up. So if you need to, you can take the feet as wide as you need on the mat. So if your belly is really big, it's going to feel better that as you bend and roll down, you bend into those knees first.
so that you're just modifying how this looks and feels in your body. And then slowly rolling back up, noticing as all the vertebrae stack on top of each other. Good. Last time, rolling all the way down. This time, bringing the hands onto the mat or onto blocks as you step the right foot back and bring that right knee down to the mat. So we're just going to rock and roll forward and back, so stretching into this front hamstring and then leaning forward and stretching into the front of this right hip. Just working with your breath, moving forward and back in your own time. Remember, there is no rush. Just like a baby will be born in their own divine time, you have divine time each and every day if you choose to tap into it, into this knowing that it actually makes no difference how your day goes, whether you rush or whether you just let everything take the time that it takes. On your next breath, come back so that the weight is even through the knees and move the blocks in slightly so that you can step that front foot back. Maybe you need to give the hips a little rock from side to side before we move into our next position. You're going to take the blocks out in front of you. So we're going to do a variation of puppy pose with the hands on the blocks. So again, you don't need to use the blocks at all if you don't want. You could bring the bolster in if that feels better. We're just going to soften the upper body down so that the hips are sitting pretty much over the knees, though you can modify that too if that doesn't feel good. And just let the forehead sink down towards the mat. Keep pressing the hands into the blocks so you're getting this beautiful stretch through the arms, through the shoulders, through the upper back, maybe through the chest as well. Breathing here. Next breath, slowly rise. Use the hands to support you as we step the right foot forwards. Hopefully you can guess where we're going, bringing those blocks back in. And coming to our low lunge on the opposite side. So again, working with your breath, just moving forwards and back. Maybe really lift the head and the heart as you come forward, and then as you exhale, really think about rounding chin to chest, straightening up that front leg. Bring the hands back into the midline so the weight is in both legs once more as we step that front foot all the way back. Take the knees nice and wide because we want to make space for our belly here. And bring those blocks back in front. This time we're sitting into our child's pose. So you're sitting lower in the hips and the hips are sitting back towards the heels. But we're still going to bring the hands up onto the blocks. And then soften the forehead down towards the mat. So a little bit more of an intense child's pose than you're possibly used to. If it's too much, you can, of course, release the hands down to the ground. You could bring fists underneath the forehead and rest here. Just finding which variation feels best in your body. And then bring both forearms down to the mat in front of you. You're going to place the right forearm in the midline and then just gently bring that hand up and open like you're trying to twist through the upper part of the body. As you exhale, we're going to close, bringing the elbow down. And then inhale up and open. If you want to, you can extend the arm, but you don't have to. And then exhale, gently close. Last one here, inhale. Maybe you extend the arm, maybe you press into the hand as well. Feel free to let the hips rock and roll as much as they need here. And then gently release all the way down. Left forearm and palm come to the midline. Hand by the head as we gently open through this right side. Exhale to close. Inhale to open, maybe extending through the arm. Exhale to close. Last one, inhale and reach. And exhale and close. Bring the hands back, walking all the way back to take a seat on the heels. I'm just going to take a gentle cat-cow. So roll the shoulders back and down, open the heart, and just feel like you're shining the chest open. So rather than taking a really big bend and arch through the low back, which might also be sore, just sort of opening the top part of the chest, the upper back, and then just gently round, tucking the chin to chest. And then again, finding some length through the spine, so feel like the crown of the head is lifting tall, and then just gently open through the chest. And exhale and round. Last one here, inhale, lift and lengthen, and then gently round, squeezing the shoulder blades back towards each other, lifting the chin. Good, and gently release. All right, let's come to sit down on our bottoms now. I want you to take both legs out in front of you. And you can leave the blocks there so that you're squeezing the blocks with the ankles just to keep the legs in alignment and also to turn those legs on as we fold over them. My favorite variation of forward fold during pregnancy was always with a bolster, so a very restorative version where we're not going too far. You could just use the bolster and squeeze the bolster between the feet so that you're still getting that forward fold, but you're not having to fold all the way over and you've still got space for the belly. If you want to and you know your hamstrings are quite tight, you could also sit up on a block. So that's just going to make this stretch through the back of the legs not as intense. You're going to get that beautiful fold here without pushing too far. And then I just want you to soften and relax. So if you need more of a stretch, you are more than welcome to keep going and just find a position that works best for you, using the blocks and bolsters in creative ways. You do want to be able to feel the stretch, but you don't want to be pushing too far into that edge. Remembering we've got relaxin in our body doing its thing, so we're already going to be stretching more than we would normally. Breathing here. Next breath, slowly remove all the props. We're heading all the way down now onto our backs. If you are quite late in the third trimester and this is no longer comfortable for you because there's not that space for your lungs, instead of coming flat on the back, you can come into more of a variation with the bolster, maybe even a block under that end. So you've got kind of a ramp. So rather than lying flat on the back, that will feel more comfortable for you. So we're coming all the way down onto our back. I want you to use the arms to support you to come down and then roll onto the back so we're not asking the core muscles to do too much work. And we're not staying here for too long. We're going to lift the hips up and bring that bolster underneath the hips. So it's up to you. Bring that block rather underneath the hips. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. It's up to you whether you stay on the high side or you can bring it down onto the low side, whatever feels more comfortable for you. And if you are beyond 5 months, you may want to also bring a little roll blanket under that right side just so that we're not pressing on that main vein that runs down the right side of the body. And then we're just staying here. If you want to, you can also bring a block in between the knees. And that's just going to give some feedback so that we can press the knees in towards each other and have something to press against. So this is helping with those muscles that support through the pelvis. You probably feel the pelvic floor also turn on as you squeeze into that block. Just breathing here. On your next breath, keep the block in between the knees if you have it there. Press into the feet, lift the hips up. Remove that block from underneath the body. Take it out to the side and let the body come all the way down. Getting rid of that second block and just gently drawing the knees in towards the chest, making sure there's still space for your belly. And take a little rock from side to side. Keep the knees together. Plant the elbows into the mat and gently let your legs fall to one side. So if you're having back pain and you're getting some pelvic instability, you always want to keep the knees towards each other. Even when you roll over in bed of a nighttime, moving both legs together is going to help with any of that pain in the SI joint or SPD pain in the front of the pelvis. And then I just want you to open up the wingspan. So we're getting this beautiful spinal twist. But keep it as gentle as your body needs. So if you can't look away from the legs, that's fine. Stay looking towards the knees. And just breathing here. Bring the elbows back in, so really press into the elbows. Bring the knees together as you take them all the way over to the opposite side. Let them rest down on the mat. It's almost like you're letting the whole body fall over, all of the hips, everything. And then you explore through the upper body by opening out the wingspan. Just breathing here. Next breath, slowly bring the knees back into center. We're going to come into our Savasana now, so I want you to bring in all the props that you need to get as comfortable as you possibly can. So my personal favorite during pregnancy is to have a block, again, don't know what my props are called, is to have a bolster in between the legs. So that's really supporting the pelvis to stay nice and stable. You could even bring another bolster underneath the back to support here. You could bring a bolster or a block underneath the head, if I can find mine, just so that you've got something to rest on, or you can just rest the head on the arm if that feels comfortable. And then I want you to take a few deep breaths in. And some long, slow breaths out. Let your body soften and sink. And just notice any parts of your body that still feel tense and tight. And see if you can breathe into those spaces, imagining them expanding with the breath. And softening with the exhale. Breathing in deeply. And giving yourself permission to relax with each exhale. Each breath taking you a little deeper. Softening a little more. next breath, start to slowly bring your awareness back. Maybe stretching the body feels good. And then slowly come on back up. Going to have a seat at the end of our practice. And bring the hands to heart, bow down the head. And just take a moment to honor yourself for showing up today. I'd like to thank you for sharing this practice with me. It is what a miracle to be able to practice with you across oceans, through screens, and I'm grateful to be here. If you would like to practice with me again tomorrow, I recommend this class. Save it for then. See you then.